And of course, like his predecessor in many senses, Thomas Jefferson, Ron understands the importance of states' rights. Jefferson talked about competitive sovereignties would help protect our freedom. And it's been a very bad thing when the federal government, in effect, becomes the only government in the country and is able to step on states, localities. Ron Paul defends decentralism. He defends and opposes centralism and opposes this total, of course, now world government the U.S. would like to be. Not only do they want to run Rhode Island, they want to run Norway. So, not a good thing. Why don't they fix up D.C. before they take on anything else, is my view. So we all want to emulate Dr. Paul, right, in terms of his character, in terms of his principles, of course, maybe even in terms of his athletic ability, for those who've got that. But it seems intimidating, right? I mean, how do you imitate a man like Ron Paul? Well, one thing we can do is try to imitate him in this area and always speak the truth, not like a loudmouth. We all know people like that. Not being an unpleasant guy, but first of all, of course, Ron Paul teaches in the only way that is the most effective and lasting way of teaching, by example. So we can try to follow him there. We also need to read. All of us need to read. We need to read the greats. We need to read Mises and Rothbard and Bastiat. We should all have read every one of Ron Paul's books, too, by the way. So here we have a big job in front of us. I think there's no question the Paulian movement is the future. I think already, and not only in this country, all around the world, in countries I've been, you wouldn't believe how many Paulians there are in Brazil, in Spain, in Italy, all over the world. Ron Paul has touched millions of hearts and minds. He will continue to do that. He's going to have very exciting things ahead after he's freed from Congress. So what can we do? We can all work and try to be worthy of Ron Paul. So that's our job. Thank you.
Lou Rockwell, that was great. I want to introduce to you the Professor of Economics at Loyola University and the Senior Fellow of the Mises Institute. He's written 20 or 30 books, thousands of op-eds. Many of us in the Liberty Movement see him as one of the world's leading economists. Please welcome Dr. Walter Block.
Thanks for the kind welcome. We believe in enterprise, so I'm going to start off with a 30-second commercial advertisement for my latest book. Yes to Ron Paul and Liberty. This book is my love letter to Ron Paul. I go over foreign policy, economic policy, personal liberty. I venture to give him some free advice as to how to deal with people who interview him and won't let him speak at all. I mention who he might pick as vice president or Supreme Court in order to draw attention to his candidacy. I don't mind when Giuliani, Krugman, Fox News, Rachel Maddow, Sean Hannity criticize Ron. I don't really mind it that much because they're ignorant savages. And what can you expect from ignorant savages? It's sort of pearls before swine. But what really ticks me off is when libertarians criticize Ron Paul. So I devote 2 chapters of this book to Wendy McElroy and Stephen Molyneux, who are not very famous libertarians, but they had the audacity to criticize my man, Ron Paul. So go get this book. It's available on Amazon. We have a lot of slogans. I'm not going to repeat them because if every one I repeat, I'll get a 1-minute applause line for. If you promise I won't, if you promise not to applaud, I'll just read them off quickly. All troops home, we are the future, and the, shut up. End the Fed, President Paul, legalize liberty. I want to propose a new one, and this one you can applaud for. And it's a shortened version of Ron Paul in 2016. Paul 16, Paul 16, Paul 16. It's true Ron will be 80 in 16, but he's a young 80. He can still beat people half his age in bicycle races. But enough rabble-rousing. Ron Paul called me twice last week, and I was amazed. These were the first 2 phone calls I ever got from him. It's sort of like Mises calling me or God calling me. And he asked me to do something substantive. Now, the way this convention is going, I was sitting next to Lou Rockwell before, and he said, do you think this is a sympathetic audience for Ron Paul? And we agreed that it was. All you have to do is mention his name, and you get a minute applause. And but I want to do something different. I want to conduct a seminar. Look, I'm a professor. If I didn't do this, they'd kick me out of the professoriate. I want to ask you not to applaud too much, even though the criteria of a successful speech is the number of applause lines you get. Because I want to do something substantive. I want to do something very important. I want to do something very controversial. And there'll be a quiz on this. So instead of applauding, take notes. We had would-be Senator of Missouri, Aiken, talk about legitimate rape and abortion. I'm a libertarian theoretician. What I like to do is to apply libertarian theory to very tough issues, and there's no more tough issue than abortion. Not only is the country as a whole divided, and even the libertarian movement itself is divided on this issue. It's one of the most baffling, difficult issues that we face, and what I'd like to do is to try to apply libertarian theory to this question. So it'll be more like a seminar than a political type speech, so please bear with me. I am going to offer a compromise between the pro-life and the pro-choice. And I claim that I claim that this compromise is a principled compromise. It's not a compromise where we give up anything. It's a compromise where we get closer to libertarianism than either of these 2 positions. Let me give you an example of what I mean by a principled versus an unprincipled compromise. An unprincipled compromise is I say 2 plus 2 is 4, you say 2 plus 2 is 6, and we compromise that 2 plus 2 is 5. That's just silly. I'm going to offer a different compromise, but before I offer this compromise, and I claim that it's the only view consistent with libertarianism, I have to note that we pro-life people, and I consider myself a pro-life person, are losing the war. One of Murray Rothbard's favorite movies was The Producers, and in there one of the characters says, we're losing the war. We are losing the war. We're losing the pro-life war. Abortion is legal. Not only is the despicable abortion legal, but even in the last trimester, the partial birth abortion. You have a baby who is 8.5 months in the womb and is perfectly viable outside, and then they go into the womb and kill him, and then